high chair. Now, I was never in band because I wasn't cool enough to play anything. I have no rhythm, so I'm proud of you. But you got a high chair. First band. Is that a state thing? Regional. Congrats. That's a big accomplishment for you, I know. Anybody else, guys? Jill? Archery? Absolutely. The upcoming tournaments and safety and tell me about it. Healing. Absolutely. Jada needs lots of healing so she can get her awesome boot. Yes, ma'am. Garcia? Okay. Either healing relationships for Olivia or going on, whatever that means, I guess. Okay. Anybody else? All right, gentlemen, if you would, please remove your hats. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, God, thank you again for this amazing day, all the blessings, these young people. Thank you for just keeping their spirits lifted, growing this community we have. Give them all strength and comfort through the week, that they know that all their peers are here, and as there's still more work to do, let them shed that word and light to their friends. Keep growing this community we have. Be with all the young people in their ventures, whether it be studies, band, basketball, any of their sports. Give healing to those in need. Watch over those in need of surgery. Watch over the doctors and nurses as they give care to those, especially Dalton, named specifically. Mend the relationships that need mending, and give us the discernment to move on to those that don't. Again, let us do all things to glorify your kingdom. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen. Now, Misty, who's not coming up on stage tonight, will be doing announcements from the back.
I think this is the way, I think a lot of the students like it this way, and I like it this way, to where we have two students doing announcements. Y'all like that better? Yeah, I did too. All right, I need my two announcers. No.
Hi. I'm Chloe.
And I'm Jada.
And we're announcing very important things.
Jada, unmute your mic.
Oh, how do I do that?
Hit that mic button there.
This button?
Yeah. Okay, this is the news, nightly news. We have a girls' retreat coming up. It's called Radiant. Be there or don't, but please do, because it is important to us. What do you want me to look at?
Read the slide.
It is the 14th through the 16th, and it costs $50 because we're paying a lot for it, guys. Come on.
That's right. You guys are paying half. The church is paying half. We need you signed up like today. In 2 days is the deadline for you guys to sign up and get a T-shirt. So if you want to go, you need to see Miss Brenda tonight.
Miss Brenda.
Or Miss Kim or Miss Carla. Or me, I guess. Okay. So.
Okay, Splash Country is coming up on February 9th, and it's after church, so bring $10 plus food for snacks.
What do you do there, Jada? Is it fun?
Oh, yeah.
A blast.
It's so much fun. Splash Country.
It is indoors, too.
Lots of water. Huh?
Bring your swimming suits.
It's where you swim indoors.
All right, next.
Is that a D now? There's gonna be a rapper there. Is this an overnight thing? It says 13th through 14th. Okay, he is Grammy nominated. Christian rap and hip hop.
Oh, I'm a little disappointed in that, Chloe. Anyways,
Why?
Flame is awesome. You guys need to look him up. Yes, the 13th is kind of like the kickoff night. It's kind of a party, and that's on a Friday. Saturday the 14th, D Now at Eagle Heights Baptist Church. I think, is that going to be $10? I think it's $10 a person. So, but that is a wonderful weekend to invite friends.
Okay. Stronger Men's Conference is coming up.
And we will not be there.
Yeah, we won't.
I like to point that out.
April 24th through the 25th. Yeah.
Jada, you got any details on that?
Oh, yeah. Makes you stronger if you're a boy. But if you're a girl, don't go.
So Craig Rochelle will be the main speaker. You guys are going to want to sign up for this. See Mr. Danny, Mr. Chris, Asa. You guys are going to love that. Ladies, is there anything else?
Oh, yeah. Does that say no slides?
So we have some birthdays. We know it's Dee Dee's birthday.
Happy birthday, Dee Dee.
Is there any other birthdays?
Please stand up if it is your birthday right now.
If you have a birthday this month, we want to sing happy birthday.
Yes, we do.
So
We
so
have the
nobody
voice
else,
of an angel.
nobody else has a
Stand
birthday.
up.
Okay.
All right, ladies, lead it off.
We have a microphone. Okay. You go.
There you go. Go for it.
Okay.
Happy
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dee Dee. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, that was nice. Happy birthday.
Okay. This is all you, baby.
All right, and the last announcement?
The church is going to eat after this.
Where are we going?
It's not, okay, Burger King.
Burger King. So if you guys want to eat out tonight, we will eat out at Burger King. You need to have a ride there and a ride home. We will not take you.
Yeah, we're not carpooling.
But, no.
No.
No, it'll be after service. All right, you all give it up for Chloe and Jada.
Immaculate job.
I wanted to make sure that you guys did know before Chris
You want
speaks
to take mine too?
that every Wednesday we try to stream this on YouTube. You guys need to remember that so you can go back and watch it, and you need to share that. Okay, share it on your own media pages so your friends can see it, your parents can see it. All right? Thank you.
Ready? Hey, everybody. Tonight we're going to shake things up. You know, Danny's going to keep you on your toes. He's good about that, right? But tonight is a special night. We're going to do something. We have Mark Rose is going to lead praise and worship tonight. And some of y'all have been here a while, know Mark from when he was a youth leader and a student here. So he's come back. He's going to help lead praise and worship for a while. So he has 3 songs picked out that we want you guys to participate in. And just like we always do, you know, you guys are more than welcome to come up to the front. So without further ado, Mr. Mark Rose, everybody go ahead and stand up and come up if you want. Got that one? Oh, he needs that one. Excuse me, guys.
Thank you. All right. Excuse me as I get set up here real quick.
Mark, I muted your mics just so you can get them where you need them.
Okay, let's see if I actually got this set up right or not. Thank you for your patience, everybody. Okay. Well, I figured I'd start off with kind of a popular song that's been popular for a while, but it's an oldie but goodie. And man, that's hard to say because, like, man, it came out like 2013 or something, and it's sad to think that that's an oldie now. But you know, I thought I would pick out some songs that just kind of focused on God's love, because like Danny's going over some pretty hard topics and some really hard things that we deal with in life, and when life gets really hard. So I just wanted to sing some songs, and I'm going to start with Reckless Love, and just kind of remind us about how God chases us. He pursues us, even when we don't feel it, and we don't feel like we're in the right place, and we feel like we got to do all this stuff to earn God's love. We don't, because he's always pursuing us. He leaves the 99 to chase you in your hardest times. So let's sing.
mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. Snow wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Snow shallow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. Snow wall you won't kick down, deserve it, still you give yourself away. Holy, overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love, God.
My mic is slowly running away from me. Next one we're going to sing is King of My Heart, but I really like the Cutlass version, so that's what we're doing. Let the King of my heart be the mountain where I run, the fountain I drink from. Oh, he is my song. And let the King of my heart be the shadow where I hide, the ransom for my life. Oh, he is my song. You are good, good. Oh, 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 believe that tonight. Let the King of my heart be the wind inside my sails, the anchor in the waves. Oh, he is my song. And let the King of my heart be the fire inside my veins, the echo of my days. Oh, he is my song. You are good, good. Oh, 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 I love this part right here. In this bridge, it talks about God, and he won't let us down. No matter how hard, how bad we think we mess up, he's still there. You're never gonna let me down. 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 You are good, good. Oh, 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 when the night is holding on to me, God is holding on. And when the night is holding on to me, God is holding on. Amen. I'd finish off on Waymaker. I don't know if some of you guys think that song is overplayed or not. I mean, some people do, but this song really ministered to me when I first found it, and I just love how it's so objective. I mean, a lot of these things we sing about ourselves and how we feel, but this one just kind of, especially in the chorus, you're declaring what God is, and in just kind of a matter-of-fact way, and especially in the bridge, even when you don't see it, he's working. When you don't feel it, he's working. It's such a good truth to know, and it's one that I've used in my life a lot, just to remember that when it doesn't feel like anything's going right and it's all disconjointed and it's all mixed up, that he's working through it and you just can't see it yet. So let's sing about that.
Touching every heart, I worship you, I worship you. You are here, healing every heart, I worship you, I worship you. You are here, turning lives around, I worship you. You are here, mending every heart. I worship you, yeah, I worship you. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Whoa, waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. 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 Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. Never stop, you never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Oh, way maker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Let's sing that one more time. Oh, way maker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Oh, way maker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. 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 Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Would you guys pray with me? Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for tonight, just to be able to get together and come together, fellowship, and to worship. And just thank you for your unstoppable love and for pursuing us and always being there, even when we don't feel it, for always guiding us. And I just pray that you be with Danny as he brings the message, and you would open our ears and our hearts to just take what you want us to know from that, that you would speak to us through that, that it wouldn't even be Danny's words, but it would be your words, your truth. In Jesus' name, amen.
And thank you, Mark. That was great. Gang, if everybody would, start kind of scooting in if there's an empty chair next to you, because we had a couple people step in and step back out because I think there wasn't enough room. They were concerned not enough seats. So if there's empty seats, if you'll kind of scoot together some of them, leave some more gaps and leave some more seats, it'd be good, guys. I appreciate that. We're experiencing some really good things here. You guys are outstanding. This is amazing, okay? Just the growth we're seeing and all the new faces. Great to see all of you here. So, this is old. So we've been doing a series, right? I should go ahead and tell you first. Now, starting next week, I got to promote this one more time. Next week, February, right? Going to do the Birds and the Bees, The Talk. Series called The Talk for the month of February. I'm going to talk all about relationships, dating, and even sex from a biblical and Christian perspective. So you should be here for that. If you've got a person that you have a lot of feelings for, have them here with you too. So, that being said, we've been doing a series, right? Who remembers what we talked about last week? Anybody? Nobody? Okay. Don't feel it, right? I want to believe. The series is called I Want to Believe But. Last week it was But I Don't Feel Him. We called it, He's a goosebump God. I don't feel Him, right? So, if you were here Sunday morning and we're listening to Pastor Heath, you might have heard him say part of this, and I thought it kind of stole my thunder. I had it before he did, I know. Last week, on a podcast with Danica Patrick, who is his girlfriend, Aaron Rodgers, quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, who's not in the Super Bowl, by the way, he comes from a Christian family, right? And all of you in here have heard somebody say something like this. I want you to listen to this because it directly relates to this message today. He said in this podcast called Pretty Intense by Danica Patrick, I don't know how you can believe in a God who wants to condemn most of the planet to a fiery hell. What type of loving, sensitive, omnipresent, omnipotent being wants to condemn his beautiful creation to a fiery hell at the end of all this? Rogers explained that religion can be a crutch and pointed it out as a tool that some people use to make themselves feel better. Now, he comes from a Christian family, keep in mind. Because it's set up binary, he said. It's us and them, saved and unsaved, heaven and hell. It's about enlightened and heathen. It's holy and righteous. That makes a lot of people feel better about themselves, he reasoned. And as for Rogers, he said he follows a different type of spirituality, but he did not elaborate on that. So that leads directly to my message today. The final message in this series, I want to believe, but how can I believe in a heartless God? Now, I should point out in all this, because I don't know that I have enough, that a lot of this, I believe, when people say they can't believe in this God, they don't know about this God, is that they believe in a distorted God. Their view of him is distorted. Aaron Rodgers' view is distorted. It's not accurate of a loving, true God. Now, we've talked about a killjoy God 2 weeks ago, about all the rules that Christians and religion makes up, right? That some people think, well, I can't have fun, so I'm not going to believe it. Last week we talked about a goosebump God. This week, we're going to talk about a heartless God. So, I can tell you a story. Long time ago, before Brenda and I were even married, a little church we went to in Searcy, there was a couple who, it was a girl who went there at the time. They weren't a couple yet. Her name was Lisa. She was the same age as me, very pretty young lady, smart, had a sister that went there too. They were in the little small youth group we had and attended Sunday school and all. Well, this good-looking guy comes along, a little bit older than her, his name's Steve, and they meet up and they end up getting married. They're like that Barbie and Ken couple, right? A cute couple. Everything looks great. They got married, and a short while later, she gets pregnant, just a normal thing with a married couple, right? And she starts getting sick. They can't figure out why. Well, ultimately, to make the story a little shorter and get to the message, Lisa had a massive brain tumor at like 22 years old. And it was not operable. This was in the late 1980s, and there was nothing they could do. Well, they were desperate. They were Christians, right? Attending a Pentecostal church where you believe in heaven, you believe in God. They went so far as to load up and go to Oklahoma to a Benny Hinn revival, because maybe Benny Hinn would get her healed, you know. And they prayed and believed, and nothing happened. A few months later, Lisa was incapacitated, couldn't get around, she couldn't function, she couldn't talk, and a short time later, she passed away. Left her husband with that baby, and there they were. Now, he left the church. He quit going to church. He quit Christianity, because what kind of God could do that to a beautiful young girl who had done nothing but go to church and try to be good? What kind of God could do that? How many of you ever heard somebody talk about something like that? You've heard something like you've thought that yourself, right? It's kind of tough sometimes. You know, you can open up an app, turn on the TV, and what do we see every day? It's racism. It's murder. It's people hurting people. I mean, people attacking people because of the kind of hat they wear. People attacking people because of the color they are. People, I mean, it's endless, right? The world's kind of a mean place these days, isn't it? It just seems like. We're a little more sheltered here in Harrison, Arkansas, but it's kind of a mean place. You can get really upset about some of these things. I'm one of those people, when I hear stories about somebody that's abused a little child, I don't have much use for that. And I'm not that saved yet, I guess, because I'm kind of like, they don't really need to be breathing the same air I'm breathing. But we go along and we try to do the best we can. We get up and go to work every day. We try to take our family to church. We earn a paycheck and try to take care of our family and make sure that they do the right thing, teach our kids to do the right thing. And we do all that, and yet sometimes it seems like we just can't get ahead. We don't make any progress. And it gets frustrating. I've had a few days like that recently. I mentioned Dalton in prayer. When I heard about his prognosis and all this, I was pretty down about it. Because it's going to be a long-term thing. It's going to be an ordeal, and it's going to be expensive. It's going to be painful for him. He's in pain now. And then a number of other things come along, just with life. And honestly, I've struggled here a few days lately. I've struggled. And it's easy sometimes to think, hey, God, what's going on? I'm trying to do it all right. I'm trying to do everything like it ought to be done. And yet this stuff just, like a snowball, seems to get bigger and bigger. And it's about to run me over, and I don't know what to do. So when we think that, we want to say, well, God, why do you let these things happen, don't we? We tend to look at people we know and think, oh, gosh, if I could just be like people, you've heard stories about the people in the Bible, right? All these great things happen to them. We tend to look at the stories and forget that they were people just like us. They struggled with things just like we did. And a couple of examples I've got is like David. I've talked about him a lot lately, Most of you are familiar with David. David killed Goliath, right? David was king of Israel. Well, are you aware that there were times that David cried out to God and said, God, my enemies are upon me. Help me out. Even though he'd had faith enough that God helped him to kill a giant and to lead Israel and all, he panicked at times and said, hey, God, what about me? Help me out. And how about Job? Most of you know the story of Job, right? Job had a rough time. I start thinking about my time, and I think, okay, what about Job? He lost his house. All of his kids were killed. He lost his crops, lost his cattle, all of his herds, storms and disasters, lost all of his money. Then big boils come over his body. He got this severe illness. He's in misery and pain with these boils all over his body. His friends become kind of jerks, and they're all like, dude, what have you been doing wrong? You can't be living for God or this wouldn't be happening. We ever thought that? And how about his wife? Could he use a little marriage counseling? She says, hey, Job, just give up, curse God, and die. It ain't worth it. I mean, that's kind of the ultimate, right, for marriage counseling. How about John the Baptist? Everybody know John the Baptist was Jesus' cousin? So he was born a little bit before Jesus, right? And he said his whole mission, his whole life was to prepare the way for Jesus. That was his whole thing, go out and preach and prepare the way. He's coming, Jesus is coming. And he was such a great prophet, such a great speaker, a lot of people thought he was Jesus, right, at first. And he was like, hey, don't follow me. I'm not Jesus. You got to follow him. I'm not worthy to untie his shoes. I'm not. Jesus is a whole different ballgame than me. John, if you know a story, he lived in the wilderness, ate wild honey and locust. He was kind of a wild man. They said wore like animal furs and things and was kind of that wild person. So John goes along, right, preaching the word, doing what he's supposed to be doing, preparing the way for Jesus. He gets thrown in prison, right? What do you think he thought when he got put in prison? Knowing he was doing what he was supposed to be doing, knowing he's the cousin to Jesus, and he knows who Jesus is. He's been teaching everybody about him, preaching everybody about him. He's coming. He's the Messiah. He's going to save the world. And he gets thrown in prison. Can you imagine? Maybe he was in prison thinking, I'm not worried. Jesus is my cousin. My cousin's got this. You think maybe he even thought, hey, he may just send some angels in here with big swords and they'll cut the gates down, take all the guards out, and take me out of here. It's all good, right? I could see him thinking that because he baptized Jesus, y'all. He baptized him. They were pretty tight. So, ultimately, though, whereas we may have a bad day and flunk a test or lose a job or something of that nature, right? John didn't lose his job. He lost his head. The king's wife wanted him beheaded because the king had taken his brother's wife as his wife, which wasn't a legal thing to do. And John told him so. And so John ended up losing his head just for doing what was right. And of course, then there's, the fact that Jesus, he could have done anything. I mean, he opened blind eyes. He did party tricks. He turned the water into wine, right? He healed the lame. He raised the dead. And yet he did nothing for John. Hey, God, where are you? He had power to rescue him, but he didn't. So it is easy for me to see how someone could think that God can be heartless. How can God let these things happen? Just yesterday, there was a 7.7 earthquake in the Bahamas, or the Caribbean, in the Caribbean. I mean, there's plane crashes, there's disasters. I mean, what about the coronavirus, right? In China right now. They're saying tens of thousands of people may be infected. And it may be coming to affect us. I saw before we started now where there's a case in Arkansas now, and there's some cases in Oklahoma. It could be a bad thing. So, hey, God, you going to take care of us? Well, as we talk about this, I won't answer all of your questions in the next 20 or 25 minutes. That ain't going to happen. But I'm going to make some points that I think will make a difference for you, okay? The first one being, if you're a note taker, there's two truths to remember in this thing. The first one is when God does not seem fair, remember that he has a purpose in your pain. Even when you're hurting, see, he's working. He's got a plan and he's doing something. Doesn't matter. Things are good, things are bad. God's always got a plan. I was talking to one of my kids recently, and she said, I'm not like you. I don't always have a plan. And I said, well, that's okay. But see, God is one. He always has a plan. He wrote the book from beginning to the end. He knows he has a plan. Never forget that he has a plan. It may be that somebody let you down. You lose something important. Maybe somebody important. A family member, a close friend. Someone lies to you, something like that. Something not that big a deal, but somebody lies to you. Maybe somebody gossips about you. It hurts. People get hurt easy these days, seems like. We call them snowflakes, that people are sensitive. They're sensitive to things, right? Well, if we go here and think about it, life doesn't always go the way we want. It can be something major, cancer, heart attacks. It can be something minor, a sore throat. Still hurts though, don't it? Still distracts you. Still an issue you don't want to have. You wish you didn't have it. 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 6 and 7 says this. There's a wonderful joy ahead, even though you must endure many trials for a little while. These trials will show that your faith is genuine. It is being tested as fire tests and purifies gold. How many of you ever seen gold purified? They melt it. When you melt gold down, the impurities in it separate. They separate. That's what they're talking about here. They knew that back then. When you melt gold down with fire, the impurities separate from that pure gold. So though your faith is far more precious than mere gold. So when your faith remains strong through many trials, it'll bring you much praise and glory and honor on the day when Jesus Christ is revealed to the whole world. See, God doesn't always cause your pain. Not always. Sometimes he does to get our attention. He doesn't always cause your pain, though. But he can always use it. Whether you cause it or he calls it, he can always use it. I'll tell you about a guy named Paco. We're going to call him Paco. That wasn't his real name. We're going to call him Paco. I'll tell you how God can work in pain. Paco's a big guy. He's bigger than me quite a bit. He's a construction worker. Paco works, he's faithful in church, attends church, he and his wife. He's a good guy. Paco gets tinnitus. If you don't know what tinnitus is, it's a constant buzzing or ringing in your ears. It's a fairly common thing with folks, unfortunately, and I've had people tell me that had it, it sounds like a freight train in your head all the time. It just almost drives you crazy. So Paco gets it. He gets it bad. And just a little while into it, Paco comes up to some of his friends and says, hey, Paco, what's wrong? He said, man, I don't know if I'm going to make it. This is driving me crazy. It's killing me. His friends are like, well, dude, we're going to try to help you. So they all pitch in. They take him to some specialists. They try some natural treatments. They pray for him. They chip in some money. They do everything they can to help Paco out. Nothing. It's still the same. Pain's still the same. Paco starts attending a group where people who have this are kind of meeting together to talk about it and things they do. Guy comes to him and says, man, here's what I have found. Serve like crazy. Serve people like crazy. It sounds crazy, but if you'll do that, there's something about it. Paco's like, well, I don't mind. I'm glad to serve. No problem. So he starts serving in the church, him and his wife. He gets into it. He starts serving at 2 campuses. He's like, I'm gonna do this all the way. Starts serving at 2 campuses. He serves. He works. Well, then they're like, well, we can do more. So Paco starts, when he meets people, starts taking them to lunch and ministering to them while having lunch with them. Then he and his wife start life groups in their house and start doing that. He's serving. I'm going all out. And what he starts finding is when he's having life groups and when he's mentioning these people at lunch, the tinnitus goes away. So he does it more. And he works more. And they come across a young mom who just lost everything. Paco and his wife help her get a car. They help her take care of her kids. And they help her get another job. And he comes back to the group. And one of the guys says, Paco, how's it going? He said, pain's still there. Pain's as bad as ever. But I'll tell you this. I have never had a better marriage. I have never had a better relationship with God. I've never felt more joy and peace than I feel now. And I would never have felt this. My marriage would have never been this good. And my life would have never been this good if it hadn't been for this pain. So you see, God can use your pain, even when it's hard for us to imagine, to bring us closer. Number 2, remember God is present in your pain. Psalm 46:1 says, God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. The problem we have is we want God to give us what we want. We're like, hey, God, I really need. Right now I'm thinking I need some things. Hey, God, I need a few things. Winning a lottery would help. I could use a few things right now. But see, God wants to show us that he is what we need. We usually don't really know what we want because we don't have that omniscient vision that God has. Paul is a great example. If you want to talk about people who change things in Christianity, it'd be Jesus, number 1. Probably Paul, number 2, and I don't know, maybe Billy Graham, number 3. I mean, Paul wrote most of the New Testament. For those that don't know, Paul started out hating Christians. He hated them. He would kill them, hunt them down. He was transformed, radically transformed. Paul had at one point, it was said he had a thorn in his flesh. Nobody really knows exactly what that was. There's different theories that people have, but nobody knows exactly quite what it was. But apparently it pained him greatly. But he said this about it, starting in 2 Corinthians chapter 12. And keep in mind, 3 times before this, he had asked to have the thorn taken away. God, please take this away. God, take away my thorn. But in chapter 12, 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9, he says, but God said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. There's more to it, but I'm going to pause right there a second. Because you see, we generally want God to do what we want. We want to say, hey, God, I'm hurting. Heal me. Hey, God, this situation stinks. Change my circumstances. God, I got in a mess. Fix this problem for me. God, I'm hurting. Take the pain away. But no, that's not what God says. You see, God said, my grace is sufficient. You don't need the rest of my grace is sufficient. Well, what is grace? It's forgiveness of sin. We say, this is what I need, God. God says, no, I'm what you need. You know, Paul, he was stoned. He was whipped. He was snake bit. He was shipwrecked on an island. The guy went through it. He went through it. But yet, he had this kind of faith. And when you've gone through it, and when you've experienced God, it's almost impossible to tell somebody about it. If you've ever encountered it, you know what I'm talking about. Once you've had it, I can sit up here and try to tell you about it and try to explain it, but it's something you really got to experience. Paul looks back on the thorn in the rest of that verse, and if you look, he's actually saying it's a good thing. It was a good thing to have that pain. He said, therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in my weaknesses. I delight in the insults. I delight in the hardships. I delight in the persecutions. I delight in the difficulties. When I'm weak, I am strong. Now think about it. I delight in my headaches. They drew me closer to Christ. I delight in a job search. See, God's my provider.